بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We already discussed the first part of chapter 8 of section 5, which was about tamayyuzul mahiyat, distinctness between mahiyat. But the second part is tashakhusa, individuation. When it comes to tamayyuz, we said two mahiyya can be distinct from each other because either all their essence is different, tamam al-zat, or part of the essence is different, like for example, insan and faras. They are the same in part of mahiyya, which is haywaniyya, but they are different in fasl. Or insan and shajar, they are the same in being nami, jism nami, but they are different in other things. So either betamam al-zat, they are different, or beba'd al-zat, because of part of the essence, or because of something outside the essence, the araziyan mufariq, something which is accidental but can be sometimes there and can be sometimes not there, and this makes difference. Like height, there is a person who is tall, a person is short, so they are not different in zat. It's because of something outside, or color, this type of thing. We said some people, they said there is a fourth way for having two distinct mahiyya, and that is betashkik, shidda wa za'f, intensity or weakness. There can be different degrees. But we said we don't accept this because mahiyya is not possible to be gradual or graded. Mahiyya is either there or not. It is wujud which can be expanded and include something stronger or weaker, not mahiyya. Okay, this is what we discussed last session. Now, tashakhus, individuation. How something becomes particular. As you remember, we said in mujarradat, in al-anwa'ul mujarrada, those things which are immaterial, like uqul, we said kullu naw'in munhasirun fi fardin. We said in mujarradat, every type has only one instance, one individual. Because we said kathra cannot be there. Because if there is kathra, it means that it has to be subject to different things. And they cannot be subject to different things because there is no potentiality. And kathra cannot be part of their essence, because if kathra is part of essence, then it can never happen, because everyone has to be kathir. So we said, kullu mujarradin naw'un munhasirun fi fard. Okay? So, for mujarradat, there is no ambiguity about their tashakhus. But what about al-anwa'ul maddiyya, those things which have potentiality, material substances, for example, like insan, faras, baqar, shajar, hajar. According to some people, they think by adding more mahiyat to them, they become juz'i. For example, insan is kulli, but if you say al-insanul dhakarul alimul tavilul kada wa kada, it becomes juz'i. But Farabi and also Mullah Sadra, they have rightly said mahiyat can never lead to individuation, because mahiyat is kulli, and even if you add 10 mahiyah to insan, still it becomes kulli, it remains kulli. Yeah? The only thing that can cause individuation is wujud khariji, haqiqatul wujud. When something exists outside, it becomes juz'i. Otherwise, as long as it is a concept, it is kulli. Okay? So let's read the book. أما التشخص فهو في الأنواع المجردة من لوازم نوعيتها. With respect to individuation, we know that in those types of being, those species that are immaterial, tashakhus, individuation, is a requirement of being a no. Because to be no means to be unique. لما عرفت أن النوع المجرد منحصر في فرد, because you knew that all these mujarradat, they are only available in one case. وهذا مرادهم بقولهم إنها مكتفية بالفاعل. This is a very important thing. We had this in previous lectures with the other book. You know, if you want to have something material, for example, to have a child, to have a flower, it's not enough to have God. It's not enough to have aql fa'al, if you believe in aql fa'al, active intellect. Material conditions also should come together. Many things should come together so that God gives existence to this child. Okay? But in mujarradat, because there is no material condition, just existence of God is enough for their existence. In other words, if you remember in Aqaid also I mentioned this, we have two types of beings. Those which are there because God says be, and there it is. We say they belong to Alamul Amr. And those things that first condition should be fulfilled and met, then God says be. This is Alamul Khalq. Mullah Sadra interprets this ayah, Ala lahul khalqu wal amr. He says there are two types of creation. Creation by just command, or creation in the way that first a space must be created by it and then God fill it with existence. Yes.
How we define between Khaliq and Fatir?
Khaliq and Fatir is the same. Means creator. But sometimes people say Fatir, for example, is creator without any example, any previous form.
Or raw material.
Yes. So, in mujarradat tam, not like us, because we are mujarrad in our essence. Nafs is mujarrad zatan, but maddiyun fi'lan. But in mujarradat tam, those which are completely actual. There is no potentiality in them. Yeah. إنها مكتفية بالفاعل. They only need فاعل. Means علة فاعلي, the one which gives existence. توجد بمجرد إمكانها الذاتي. They come to existence just if they are contingent. You don't need anything else. Therefore, this is why philosophers said these are azali. Mujarradat are azali because they have no time, no condition, changing. Is it clear? So you don't need anything else other than God.
They're immaterial stuff.
They're immaterial. وفي الأنواع المادية. But in those species which are maddi, which are material, كالعنصريات, like elements, that we study in the chemicals, for example, different types of materials. Here, at tashakhus, individuation is happening because of al-a'raz, because of accidents, which are lahiqa, which belong to the essence. Especially among a'raz, we have 9 araz, 9 types of accident, especially ain, the place, mata, the time, waz'. Waz', as you remember, waz' is the position that something has with respect to its own parts also. Harakat waz'i. So we have, sometimes, for example, sometimes this bottle of water, I change the place. This is ayn. So this is motion in ayn. I am changing the place. But sometimes I don't change the place. I just make it upside down. This is wada. Its situation is changing, but the location is not changing. Like, for example, moon going around itself. But sometimes it goes around earth. Okay, so this is harakat waz'iyya, harakat intiqaliyya, as we call it. So, according to some philosophers, they say material beings, their individuation comes because of a'raz, because of accidents, especially ain and mata and wada. Ain is the accident which is caused by being in a particular location. Mata is the accident which is caused by being in particular time. Waz is in being particular condition, situation. وهو تشخص النوع بلحوقها به في عرض عريض. They say the no becomes individuated by belonging of these a'raz في عرض in wide spectrum بين مبدأ تكونه إلى منتهى, from the time they are created, from the origin up to their end. For example, a human being, its size changes, its time changes, its location changes, and this makes different individual human beings. هذا هو المشهور. This is the view of many philosophers. والحق كما ذهب إليه المعلم الثاني. But the right position, as Farabi has also maintained, وتبعه صدر المتألين, and Mullah Sadr has also followed him, is that أن التشخص بالوجود, individuation is because of existence. لأن انضمام الكلية إلى الكلي لا يفيد الجزئية. Because if you add a universal concept to another universal concept, the result is not juz'i, the result is kulli. Yes, you narrow it down, but still it's kulli. I told you last Monday that even if you make it so narrow that can only have one individual, but still it is kulli. For example, you say the man who is in this age, this height, sitting at this time on this chair. Only one person can sit, but still it's kulli. It can be many people.
But if you say Zayd, if you say this time sitting on
If you say
Zayd,
Zayd,
Zayd.
yes. If you say Zayd, it's a real Zayd. Then you, even if you don't say time, it's this one person. لأن انضمام الكلية إلى الكلي لا يفيد الجزئية. Adding kulli to kulli would not lead to particularity. فما سموها أعراضا مشخصة. What mashhura philosophers have called accidents which individuate, individuating accidents, in reality they are not individuating accidents, because what individuates is wujud. فما سموها أعراضا مشخصة هي من لوازم التشخص وأماراته. These are not causing individuation, they are outcomes and signs of individuation. When something exists, of course it has a time, it has a space, it has certain height or weight or whatever, but it's not that because it has these things it is juz'i. Because it exists, it is juz'i, and of course when it is juz'i, it has all these aspects as well. Okay? So, alhamdulillah, we finished the 5th section. The 6th section is about في المقولات العشر, 10 categories. Mahiyat, as you know, it is either Jawhar or Araz. But Araz by itself is not a jins. There are 9 A'raz. So we say Jawhar and 9 A'raz, which become 10. We have Jawhar, we have Kam, Kaif, Mata, Ain, Waz, Jida, and Yaf'al, and Yanfa'il. It becomes 10. Jawhar has 5 types. Nafs, Aql, Jism, Madde, Surat. Okay? Aql is Jawharun Mujarradun Dhatan wa Fi'lan. It's completely Mujarrad in essence and has no potentiality in action. Everything is completely immaterial. Nafs is Mujarradun Dhatan. In essence is Mujarrad, but in its activities, actions need Madde. It has potentiality. Jism is the substance which has 3 dimensions. And then we have Madde and Surat, which are the same as jins and fas, as we said before. Madde is the part of Mahiyya which is accepting new forms, so it's a subject, it's a container, or you can say something to which forms belong. And form are against substance, which are causing certain actuality. I thought, because our time is very limited and we have already studied this in the previous book, we go to the next section. So this is not very much needed for us, and we can inshallah leave it for, if we have time in the end we can come back, otherwise we have studied this before. We go to the 7th section, which is about illatu ma'lul. And this is very, very important part of philosophy, because in philosophy we said we are talking about wujud, general characteristics of wujud, ahwal al-mawjud bima huwa mawjud. And a very important part of it is about causality. So we move on to the
المرحلة السابعة.
المرحلة السابعة الفصل الأول في إثبات العلية والمعلولية وأنهما في الوجود. The first chapter is about proving causality, العلية, والمعلولية, and being effect, and being cause and effect. And also we want to prove that causality is in existence. It's not in mahiyya. Causality is about existence. One being is caused by another being. So this is the first chapter. قد تقدم. These are very important discussions. I repeat again because I want you to really study this, do mubahasa, because it helps you a lot also in your aqaid. قد تقدم أن الماهية في ذاتها ممكنة. We said before that mahiyya in its essence is contingent. What does it mean it's contingent? It means it has equal relation to existence and non-existence. تستوي نسبتها إلى الوجود والعدم. Its relation to wujud and adam, existence and non-existence, is equal. We also said before, تقدم also, that أنها في رجحان أحد الجانبين محتاجة إلى غيرها. Because mahiyya has equal relation to existence and non-existence, so if existence is preferred or non-existence is preferred, it must be for something outside the mahiyya, because mahiyya was equal, mahiyya was neutral. Yeah, inside mahiyya of insan, it's not there that it must exist or it must not exist, because if it was there that it must exist, then it could not stop existing. And if it was there not to exist, it could never exist. Mahiyya is neutral about this. Insan is haywan natiq. Insan is not haywan natiq mawjud or haywan natiq ma'doom. Wujud and adam are not taken inside. You remember we kept saying الماهية من حيث هي ليست إلا هي لا موجودة ولا معدومة. Remember? And we said this is not tanaquz. Why this is not tanaquz? Because it's hamd avvali. We want to say wujud is not taken inside definition of mahiyya, and adam is not taken inside none of them is taken inside the definition. Although we know that in external world, any mahiyya either exists or doesn't exist. بالحمل الشائع إما موجود أو معدوم. But بالحمل الأولي ليس بموجود وليس بمعدوم.
Because conceptual.
If you understood this, it means, alhamdulillah, you have made progress. Okay? So, mahiyya in preference of one of these two sides, wujud and adam, needs something external. محتاجة إلى غيرها. It needs something else. وعرفت. You also knew أن القول بحاجتها في رجحان عدمها إلى غيرها نوع تجوز. This is a very important point. When we say رجحان الوجود or رجحان العدم needs something outside. But in reality, because this is a kind of metaphoric language, in reality, Adam is nothing. So it's not that Adam needs a cause. Wujud needs cause. And when the cause for wujud is not there, Adam happens. And Adam, even you cannot say Adam happens. Adam doesn't happen. When wujud doesn't happen, means it's Adam. Yeah? So, we say, to make it simple, we say it is equal to wujud and Adam, and any of these to happen needs something outside, something external. But if you want to be more precise, you say wujud needs something out external to make it necessary, and if that is not there, Adam happens.
Because you said in the last book, Sheikh, the non-existence of cause of its non-existence.
Exactly. عدم العلة علة للعدم. عدم العلة علة للعدم. When existence of cause is not there, that is the cause for non-existence. Cause of existence is not there, so it's non-existence caused. So إنما الحاجة في الوجود. Need is for existence. فلوجودها توقف على غيرها. So existence of mahiyya depends on something other than mahiyya. If insan wants to exist, if apple wants to exist, if water wants to exist, we should have something outside this mahiyya that grants existence. Because in itself it is equal. Okay? So, now, mahiyya in its existence depends on something else. But depends on what? It must depend on the existence of something else. Okay? وَهَذَا التَّوَقُّفُ لَا مُحَالَةَ عَلَى وُجُودِ الْغَيْرِ. This reliance or dependence definitely, necessarily is on the existence of the other thing. Because if it is another mahiyya, that by itself doesn't have existence. It must be a being, either wajibul wujud, or if it is mumkinul wujud, it should finally lead to wajibul wujud. فَإِنَّ الْمَعْدُومَ مِنْ حَيْثُ هُوَ مَعْدُومٌ لَا شَيْئِيَّةَ لَهُ. Because ma'doom, as long as it is ma'doom, insofar as ma'doom has no shay'iyah, is nothing. It's has no reality. فهذا الموجود المتوقف عليه في الجملة. So that being which somehow, why we say somehow? Because we have different types of causes. You remember we said there are 4 types of causes. العلة الفاعلية, العلة السورية, العلة المادية, العلة الغائية. But that موجود which somehow we need, and this depends on that, it is called illah. Okay? هذا الموجود المتوقف عليه في الجملة. That being on which is dependent في الجملة somehow, we call it illah, we call it cause. والماهية المتوقفة عليه. And that quiddity which depends on this موجود في وجودها, in its existence. Mahiyya, which in its existence depends on that external being, we call it ma'lulatuha, we call it effect of that cause. So we have cause and we have ma'lul. Ma'lul is the mahiyya that in its existence depends on wujud of Allah. So there are 2 beings. One of them depends on the other one. Okay? So if you say mahiyya is ma'lul, indeed means mahiyya for wujud needs Allah. Okay, inshallah we continue after salat. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. So we continue our study of first chapter of section 7 on causality, and this chapter is on proving causality and that cause and effect are related to each other in existence. So we reached this point that what is given by the cause, and here we mean originating cause, al-illatul fa'iliyya or illatul mufida. What the originating cause is giving is existence, not mahiyya. Because some people may think that al-illa gives mahiyya to ma'lul. This is not correct. Mahiyya is not given, mahiyya is not created. Mahiyya is always something in our understanding. For example, mahiyya of insan. Whether we have insan or we don't have insan, that mahiyya is mahiyya of insan and is distinct from mahiyya of horse or whatever. The cause is not giving mahiyya, it's giving existence. You can say it's giving existence to mahiyya, but if you want to be more precise, you can say it's creating existence which has mahiyya. Because as you remember in previous discussion, we said, in our mind we think there is mahiyya and then wujud belongs to it. إن الوجود عارض المحية تصورا. According to Hajjiyah Sabzawari, it says إن الوجود عارض المحية. Wujud belongs to mahiyya تصورا in our conception. واتحد هوية. But in reality they are the same. So because we are very much used to mahiyat, we think that there is mahiyya of insan, then wujud belongs to it. But this is not the case. Mahiyya is not anything, factual or anything outside. Mahiyya is just a concept. That concept may exist or may not exist. What Allah gives is the existence, not mahiyya. Okay? And also not making mahiyya exist. Because some people said, okay, Allah is not giving mahiyya, but Allah makes mahiyya exist. Say, this is also not accurate. Allah just gives existence. Because then we have a being and existence, then it has mahiyya. You may say this mahiyya now is mawjood. But otherwise, to be more precise, you have to say Allah grants existence. ثم إن المجعول للعلة والأثر الذي تضعه في المعلول. What is made by illah, by the cause, and the effect that the cause puts in the effect, in ma'lul, that thing that Allah gives, Allah creates, Allah initiates. There are different options. إما أن يكون هو وجوده, means وجود المعلول, which is the right option. What Allah gives is either the existence of ma'lul, the effect, or mahiyatahu, or its quiddity. This is the second option, which we don't agree. Or sayrurata mahiyatahi mawjudatan, becoming existent. This change. This is also what we don't accept. These are all what our mind, comes to analyze and conceptualize. The only thing is the first one. So first we mentioned three options. Then now we want to refute two of them so that only the first one remains. Lakin, this is, qiyas istisnai. You mention first and then you pause or remove. لكن يستحيل أن يكون المجعول هو الماهية. But it is impossible that what is given, what is made by Allah is mahiyya. Why? Because mahiyya is not real. Mahiyya is i'tibari. Mahiyya is something that we understand as boundaries of existence. It's i'tibari. You remember asalatul wujud wa i'tibariyat al-mind. وَالَّذِي لِلْمَعْلُولِ مِنْ عِلَّتِهِ. But what is for the effect from the cause is amrun asilun. Allah is making a real change and giving a real thing, something which is asil, which is primordial. So it cannot be mahiyya. Ala أن الذي تستقر فيه حاجة الماهية المعلولة ويرتبط بالعلة هو وجودها لا ذاتها. Also, in addition to this point, the second point is that mahiyya for wujud needs illah. الذي تستقر فيه, the thing for which or in which need of mahiyya is there. Why mahiyya needs Allah? Because of its wujud. Why mahiyya is connected to Allah? Because of wujud. Wa wujuduha la dhatuha, not essence of mahiyya. Essence of mahiyya doesn't need Allah. If you remember, we mentioned this point, which is very interesting point, and some people may find it difficult, but if you study philosophy, it becomes easy. We say, ما جعل الله المشمشة مشمشة بل أوجدها. Mishmisha is fruit, apricot, yeah? We say God, for example, apple, orange. God did not make apple. God created apple. If someone doesn't know philosophy, say, oh, you are saying God didn't make apple. You say, of course, apple is apple because it's a concept. It doesn't need existence. It's like 3, 4, 5, 6, or a triangle, a square. These are not as concepts created. Their reality is created. Okay? Apple is apple, orange is orange. God gives existence to them. So mahiyya is not made by the creator or by cause. Mahiyya is brought into existence, or it's better to say, has been given reality by creator. Okay, it's clear?
Very clear.
وَيَسْتَحِيلُ أَنْ يَكُونَ الْمَجْعُولُ هُوَ السَّيْرُورَةِ. It is also impossible to say that what has been made by Allah is sayrura, is becoming.
What?
Becoming.
Becoming. Shayrura means
Yeah, because it's the third option. Instead of mahiyya and wujud, the third option is to say sayruratul mahiyyata mawjudatan. This transition of mahiyya into exist, this is given by cause. This is transition.
Shayrura is transition.
Yes, sayrura means becoming, turning, transition. Why this is not? Because this is again a concept, transition or turning or becoming. It is a relational concept. This is not something which is created. wujud is created, then your mind compares two conditions. First, it didn't exist, then it exists, so it says it has become mawjud. Okay? Otherwise, there is nothing other than wujud. لأنها means لأن السيرورة معنى نسبي قائم بطرفي, because it is a relational meaning which depends on two parts. Okay? ومن المحال أن يقوم أمر أصيل خارجي بطرفين اعتباريين غير أصيلين. And it is impossible that a real factual thing depends on two parts or two sides which are not themselves real. They are not by themselves factual. Okay? Mahiyya was ma'doom, and now it is becoming mawjud. This turning from ma'doom to mawjud is only something that your mind is taking this picture by reflection. Otherwise, mahiyya and ma'doom and even concept of wujud, these are not real. Haqiqatul wujud is real, and that is the only thing that Allah gives. فَالْمَجْعُولُ مِنَ الْمَعْلُولِ. So what is made by Allah? Okay? From ma'lul, that aspect of ma'lul that is given by Allah, that effect that Allah is giving, al-atharu alladhi tufiduhu al-illah huwa wujuduhu. So what Allah is giving to ma'lul, what Allah is putting there is wujud al-ma'lul, la mahiyatuhu, not the quiddity of ma'lul, wala sayruratu mahiyati mawjuda, nor turning of its mahiyya into being. وَهُوَ الْمَطْلُوبُ. After removing and refuting these two, the only one which remains is the first one, that is wujud. Then second chapter is about some divisions of cause. Cause can be divided in different ways. One famous division is to divide it into complete cause and incomplete cause. Al-illatu tamma, al-illatu naqisa. Al-illatu tamma is everything that ma'lul needs for existence. Okay? For mujarradat, God is illat tamma. We don't need anything else. But for maddiyat, in addition to God, we should have some material conditions met. There should be no obstacle. There should be everything possible, needed should be there. For example, you want to have a flower. You need to have soil, you need to have air, you need to have oxygen, you need to have light. There should be no animal which would, eat it and destroy it. So many things should be together so that that flower comes to existence. Even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to create flower, He would create it in this way. I don't know, you remember when we were talking about mu'jiza in Aqaid, al-Aqaid, maybe I have said this. Allama Tabatabai has this discussion in Al-Mizan about mu'jiza, and I think I have mentioned this, that even mu'jizat finally should happen in the physical world. If Allah wants to give Musa alayhi salam miraculous power, it is through his wooden stick. So finally something should happen on the ground. Or it says, put your hand and bring out, it's white by Ra'ul and Nadir. It has to be something from this world.
has to be illa for every malul.
And this is why, for example, I use this example. I say, if God is going to miraculously feed the people, He doesn't feed them except with food. Yeah? He doesn't feed them miraculously by changing their nature. He sends some bread, some rice. Yeah? So it should, even when Allah wants to create Isa alayhi salam, blows the spirit to Mary. Or He wants to create Adam, makes the clay of Adam and blow into it. So something in this physical world must be ready to receive that phase of God coming. Okay? So, al-illatu tamma means complete cause. Everything that we need for existence of something. Which in the case of mujarradat is only God, but in the case of maddiyat, we need many, many things to be together. God is the giver of existence, but there should be also illat maddi, illat suri, and other things. Illat naqisa means part of what we need. If we have illat naqisa, it's not necessarily leading to existence of, for example, you say we have illat naqisa, we have muqtazi. So, okay, what about mane? Is mane also maf'ud or not? Are shara'it conditions mawjood or not? So, if illat tamma is there, ma'lul certainly is there. You remember we had this rule. لا يجوز تخلف المعلول عن علته التامة. It's not possible that ma'lul does not exist while complete cause of ma'lul exists. لا يجوز. It means impossible. But what about illat naqisa? Illat naqisa may exist, but ma'lul may not exist. But if illat naqisa doesn't exist, can ma'lul exist? No. Because if even part of illa is not there, ma'lul cannot exist. So from existence of illat naqisa, you cannot make the conclusion that ma'lul exists. But from non-existence of illat naqisa, you can make the conclusion that ma'lul does not exist. Okay?
Can you give an example for illat naqisa?
Illat naqisa, like for example, just having father, having mother, or having just God, for example. Having seed for flower, for example. Is that naqisa?
But
Means-
God created Nabi Isa from Millat Naqisa. He's only got it from
No, God. Not from God created Isa alayhi salam,
Mhm,
but in addition to God,
mhm.
Mary was involved.
Indeed, yes. But only in Millat Naqisa.
And
one
there
half.
were other things involved. Some materials were involved.
Which is like what?
Like for example, as an embryo, so something was, becoming the body of Isa alayhi salam. Something from this world. Something that Mary was eating and drinking was very important. If Mary was in vacuum, he could not, develop this baby.
Oh, see, Alhamdulillah.
But-
Thank you.
Existence of Allah was not enough. If it was enough, okay, 10 years, 100 years before that also Allah existed. Why Isa was not existed? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala waits, if you want to put it in this way, till the right time, right condition comes. Then He grants the phase. Of course, you can talk about irada of Allah, will of Allah, but we know will of Allah is not arbitrary. Yes.
So become a
إذا
necessary.
أراد شيء يكون يكون فيكون.
That's the last stage. That's the last stage. When everything is ready, then Allah says kun. For mujarradat, in azal, in eternity, He says kun fayakun. But for maddiyat, it should happen in the right time, right space. Then Allah says kun fayakun. Yes.
I was just going to ask that when all the conditions are right, does it then require its necessity for that thing to exist?
When illa is complete, then it's necessary. But this zarura is called zarura bil ghayr, which comes from illa. Illat tammeh gives zarurat bil ghayr, necessity by the other, not zarura bil zat. تنقسم العلة إلى تامة وناقصة. Illa is divided into complete and incomplete. فإنها, because the إلا إما أن تشتمل على جميع ما يتوقف عليه وجود المعلوم, because cause either includes everything that existence of ma'lul depends on. Whatever you need is there. بحيث لا يبقى للمعلول معها مع العلة التامة إلا أن يوجد. There is no other option for ma'lul. If everything is there, it will exist. وهي العلة التامة. This is called complete cause. But there is another way, another option. وإما أن تشتمل على البعض دون الجميع. Or it includes some of the things that existence of ma'lul depends on, not all of them. This is called al-illatul naqisa, incomplete cause. وَتَفْتَرِقَانِ, they are separate from each other. How you can distinguish between tamma and naqisa? مِنْ حَيْثُ إِنَّ الْعِلَّةَ التَّامَّةَ يَلْزَمُ مِنْ وُجُودِهَا وُجُودُ الْمَعْلُولِ. From existence of illat tamma, complete cause, you can understand that ma'lul must exist. So existence of illat tamma implies existence of ma'lul. وَمِنْ عَدَمِهَا عَدَمُهُ. Also from non-existence of illat tamma, you realize that ma'lul cannot exist. But al-illatul naqisa la yalzam min wujudaha wujudul ma'lul. From existence of incomplete cause, you cannot conclude that ma'lul must exist. Yeah? Illat naqisa may exist, ma'lul still may not exist. But لكن يلزم من عدمها عدمه. But if illat naqisa is not there, definitely ma'lul cannot be there, because ma'lul depends on illat naqisa. So whether it is naqisa or tamma, if it doesn't exist, ma'lul cannot exist. But if you want to go the other way around, and from wujud of illa say that ma'lul must exist, this is only true about illat tamma, not illat naqisa. You have a question?
Yeah, I was asking with regards to du'as.
Yes.
So, is it the case that with du'a, does that form part of the conditions that requires for the cause to, the effect to come into place?
Yes.
So that's all part of the... So then what about when your du'as are not answered? Is it because there are other conditions or other...
Or maybe your dua is not real dua.
But it could be very sincere. For example, if somebody's in a problem,
Yes.
could you use this argument to provide some answers to people who often say that I was in such a big problem and I've been praying and praying and praying, because the problem obviously is so huge that they are going to pray sincerely
Yeah.
from their heart.
Yes.
So they pray and the prayer is not answered. Could you use this same argument in terms of the conditions, other elements?
Of course, dua is not illat tamma. Dua is one factor. If, for example, two people at the same time pray for the same thing. Yeah? For example, they are making a draw to give a gift. 2 people, 10 people sincerely are praying, please, make our name, come out. It's not possible that all of them, would get it. So this is just a simple example. So dua is not illat tamma. But if we really sincerely make dua, we will certainly get something. Either what we ask for or something better.
Better.
You get something.
Or
But
there's a reason why he's delaying it. Will be
Then-
good for us in the end.
then what you get is either what you wanted
Yes.
or something better.
Yes.
And what you wanted, if you get it, you may get it soon or late. So either you get what you wanted soon, or you get what you wanted late, or you don't get it, you get something better in
Indeed,
akhirah.
yes, that's right. Yes.
So never be tired of dua.
Indeed, yes.
Yes.
Some du'as are quite specific time frame or specific thing that will be given.
Yes.
So if the conditions are met, should we expect that that particular condition of that particular effect of the du'a should take place?
But how do you know
Not
the connection?
necessarily.
Yes, sir.
If it says if you do this for 40 days, or
Pardon?
if you do this for 40 days, for example,
Yes.
or whatever the time is given, what is the value of that timing?
If it is maslaha, you will get it. Otherwise,
Yes, yes,
even if time passes, you may not get it.
Sheikh, but how do we know that the conditions have been met, even if we made to, like, whatever the physical requirements are, like doing 40 days in the sunshine, in the night,
Okay.
but even there might be other conditions of our own,
Yeah.
metaphysical conditions that.
So you are very hopeful that you get it.
Yeah.
And as hadith says, ظُنَّ حَاجَتَكَ بِالْبَابِ, you must imagine that what you want is next to the door,
Yes,
but you can never say,
yes.
definitely I am going to get it.
Yes,
We should
yes.
see what's maslaha. Allah knows
I
what's
think there's
best
something
interest
where
of me
Ramadan-
and best interest of everyone.
I think in Ramadan there's something said if you don't give it to us and you delay it, and we complain that we don't realize that it's for our own good you're doing it.
Yes.
I think one of the du'as that you would know it
Yes.
Dua Ramadan is
In Dua Abu
Ramadan.
Hamza.
Yes.
لعل الذي أبتى عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. Or افتتاح. Yes. Yes.
Sheikh, one question. Why does the dua have the power that, provided it's sincere, on its own can cause some change or some things? Why does that alone have...
Because Allah has made dua a spiritual means. Why we have physical means? Yeah, for example, milk is powerful, meat, food, there's energy in them. Also, there are things in which there is a spiritual energy. So you can use them for your spiritual requests. Dua is very important. So last Ramadan we had this series in Ramadan, spiritual aids and empowering tools. That how these things really help and can change the overall balance of power into your favor. With dua you can change your destiny. Okay. So this is one division. Another division, وَتَنْقَسَمُ أَيْضًا إِلَى الْوَاحِدَةِ وَالْكَثِيرَةِ. Cause sometimes is one, sometimes is multiple. For example, heat. Heat can be caused by sunshine, can be caused by fire, by electricity. There are multiple causes. It's not only one cause. Another division is cause is either basita or murakkaba, simple or compound. تنقسم أيضا إلى البسيطة وهي ما لا جزء لها والمركبة. Illa is either simple, means has no part, or murakkab, which means compound. وهي بخلافها. Compound is different from simple, means it has parts. Okay? Then in order to better understand parts, so Besata and Tarkib, sometimes we have parts outside. Al-Ajza'ul Kharijiyya. For example, a human being has hand and different things, okay? So sometimes illa, if for example human being is illa for something, it has parts. Or it can have madde and surah, which is again ajza. Madde and surah are ajza. Sometimes parts are not outside, but in our mind. If you remember, we said in a'raz, although we mentioned jins and fast, but a'raz are basit. They don't have madde and surah. They have jins and fast, but not madde and surah. You remember a few days ago we had this discussion. Or mujarradat, they don't have parts, although maybe you say jawharun, mujarradun zatan, you bring jins and fast, but they don't have parts outside. It's in our analysis that we use jins and fast for definition. The most simple thing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He has no jins of fast, no madde wa surat. Even you cannot say He has wujud and mahiyya. Because in mumkinat, you can distinguish between their wujud and mahiyya. Kullu mumkinin zawjun tarkibiyyun min wujudin wa mahiyya. Philosophers say every contingent being is a pair which is comprising of wujud and mahiyya. Of course, wujud and mahiyya are not two different things, but in mind we can distinguish between their wujudi side and their mahiyya side. But in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even this division does not exist, because His wujud and mahiyya are the same. Because He doesn't have mahiyya in the sense that we use for mumkinat. Al-haqqu mahiyyatuhu an-niyyatuh. And here mahiyya means what? Who remembers? When we use mahiyya for God, what does it mean? It doesn't mean quiddity. It means, yes, but is it? Yes, His wujud, yeah? Ma bihi shay'u huwa. His. So in the case of God, mahiyya means what makes God God, which is His existence. Okay? So God is absolutely simple, basit. From every aspect is basit. Al-basitatu imma basitatun bihasab al-kharij. Either it is simple with respect to the kharij, means to the external world, kal-aql al-mujarrad wal-a'raz. They don't have parts outside. Although in our mind we can divide jins and fast. وَإِمَّا بِحَسَبِ الْعَقْلِ, or they are basit with respect to aql. It means that not only they don't have juz' khariji, they don't have even juz' aqli. They don't have external part, they don't have intellectual part. Because a'raz have intellectual part. You can divide them jins of fast. For example, what is adad? Kam munfasil. Kam munfasil. Or what is khat? Kam muttasil qarruzzat. What is zaman? Kam muttasil ghayru qarruzzat. So you can bring jins and fast. Wa imma bihasab al-aql. It's simple according to aql. It means that la tarkiba fihi kharijan wa la aqlan. They don't have any combination in external world like madde and surat. Wa la aqlan. Neither they have tarkib, combination in mind and in intellect like jins of fast. Because a'raz, I repeat again for many times, a'raz, they have jins of fast la aqli, but they don't have madde wa surat. وَأَبْسَطُ الْبَسَائِط. The most simple among simple things, مَا لَمْ يَتَرَكَّبْ مِنْ وُجُودٍ وَمَاهِيَّةٍ, is the one that is not a combination of wujud and mahiyya, existence and quiddity. So no jins, no fast, no madde, no surah, nothing. Even you cannot distinguish between his wujud and his mahiyya. وَهُوَ الْوَاجِب. واجب الوجود عز اسمه, God Almighty. Another division is تنقسم أيضا إلى قريبة وبعيدة. Sometimes the cause is near, sometimes it is remote or far. What do we mean by near? Means the nearest thing to ma'lul, because sometimes you have a hierarchy. So what is cause al-mubashir, the one which is near to ma'lul, that is qarib, called qarib. What is for example, if you create a chair, you are illat qariba for that chair. But then what created you is also illah for that chair, but it is illat ba'ide. Okay? والقريبة ما لا واسطة بينها وبين معلولها. The cause which is qarib, which is near, is the one that there is nothing. Wasita means
No distance,
no middle thing, no datum,
no intermediary.
intermediary between it and between ma'lul. والبعيدة بخلافها. Far is the one that there is something between it and ma'lul, another cause, which is effect of this and the cause of the, yeah. So you have this one, like chair, then the carpenter, then above carpenter, for example, we have aql fa'al, you know, according to Masha'in, there are, everything in this world is under aql fa'al, active intellect, and aql fa'al is the 10th aql. So there are 9 aql above it, and then it's God, according to Masha.
Fa'al is below God.
Aql fa'al, yes, everything is below God. Okay, then inshallah we will talk about other divisions of Allah in the next session inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.